Every month there is a ton of mobile games that come out, and every month GameRanks sorts them for you. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the 10 best free iOS and Android games of July 2019. Coming in at number 10, it's Dark Sword 2, a stylized, side-scrolling, high-action RPG that really has a unique look and feels incredibly high energy. Now, in a lot of respects, I would say that this game graphically looks significantly better than the first. It has far more complex lighting effects and feels, honestly, a little bit faster. If you ever played the first, it has some pretty smooth combat, and I feel like that has been enhanced a little bit here. It's a really good game, especially if you're looking for some hack and slash action. They really ran with color this time around, and I think it really benefits from that specifically. Dark Sword 2 is a killer hack and slash out on iOS and Android now. Check it out. And moving on to number 9 is Gigantic X, a top-down shooter with a sci-fi aesthetic. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is definitely one you got to check out. While it's not as if there are no top-down shooters on iOS or Android, this is probably one of the better ones in my opinion, especially recently. It takes on kind of an aesthetic of Mass Effect and Halo in its character design, but for the most part it looks very little like those games on the screen as the game's playing. And in a lot of ways you're kind of basically going out and attacking other alien races, which is questionable, but hey, it's a game, and sometimes you really just kind of need an excuse for a shooter, and that's what the story is, I have a feeling here. The shooter itself is quite competent. This is a game with a fair progression system too. Like, free games tend very much towards pay to win. This is not. It actually works, and in a lot of ways feels like a much bigger, more complete experience than a lot of mobile games. Gigantic X will take up a ton of your time. It's a fantastic shooter, and it's out on iOS and Android right now. Continuing on to number 8, it's Battle Disc. Battle Disc is one of those very simple, very fun, addictive, time-passing, goofy little things. Now, it's not going to shock you or blow your mind or anything like that, but it is going to give you a very good time. It's basically air hockey with some additional twists. Your opponent basically sets up defenses, you have to throw a disc at them, and the way that stuff kind of works reminds me of air hockey a lot. It's not fully air hockey because you're not just beating a disc back and forth. You're catching and throwing and trying to break through defenses, which are built up in various different ways, and honestly, it really works. I spent way more time on this game than I probably should have, given how simple it is to pick up and play. I feel like they did a good job of making it have enough variety that it's worth continuing to invest time in, and that's really valuable when you make something that's simple but fun, so to speak. It is amazing, it is highly addictive, you will be playing this for a long time after you try it. It has some very annoying ads, I am not going to pretend it doesn't, but it's overall pretty darn worth enduring them. Battle Disc is out on iOS and Android right now. Moving on to number 7 is Tekken. Now, Tekken sounds like Tekken. It's not Tekken. It's actually a card game with all of the Capcom characters, which are actually totally unrelated to Tekken, so get the Tekken thing out of your head. Now, as far as what this actually is, it is a much more traditional card game that will, in a lot of respects, remind you of the sort of Clash Royale-oriented genre. However, it is not a MOBA, it is not Battlefield-oriented, it is a straight, pure card game that takes on some of the aspects that, interestingly enough, were borrowed, I think, from card games in the first place. You play your cards, and your cards basically interact with each other through a timed sort of visualization. It's actually a really good idea, and it's really fun to have all the Capcom characters together to do this kind of a thing, and it really honestly works. Tekken is a hell of a lot of fun. If you're interested in a card game, you need to give it a shot, because I think it's really different, but at the same time, familiar in all the best ways. Tekken's out on iOS and Android right now. Moving on to number 6, Heroic Magic Duel, which is again a sort of card-based game. It leans a little bit more into the Clash Royale than Tekken does, but Heroic Magic Duel I don't think is trying to be strictly a card game. It gives you 3 lanes, you drop your different characters that you have collected and leveled up into those lanes, and again, it tries something new here. I would say that it's nice to have some variety, and obviously most of the basics here you know at this point. However, I think it provides a different enough battle experience that I find it compelling and fun, and I love the art, I love the color. I hope it's got staying power because there's a lot of cool elements to it. Heroic Magic Duel is out on iOS and Android now. Coming in at number 5, it's the mighty quest for epic loot. Now, this game is a one-thumb action RPG, and in every way it works. We've talked about a couple of these games in the past, but this game really takes it all and unifies it into a working, ongoing experience. I would say the closest competition is probably Nonstop Night, which this kind of unapologetically borrows from. I would say if you do like Nonstop Night, you'll probably like this game. I enjoy both, personally. I think that they both offer different enough paths and different enough environments and characters that they're both certainly worth playing, and Ubisoft did a pretty good job with this. Honestly, this could have been vapid and horrible and just like a mindless ripoff of another game, but instead of being vapid and horrible, it's just a good ripoff of another game. I understand that doesn't sound like a great compliment, but it actually is. Nonstop Night's a great game, and this is a great game. It could have been horrible, but it's not. It's great. The mighty quest for epic loot is out on iOS and Android now. Coming in at number 4 is Dr. Mario World. Now, this is a game that does everything it's supposed to do quite well. I mean, it's basically what you expect from a mobile Dr. Mario game. It's incredibly good, puzzle-oriented gameplay. It's not just match 3, but it is match 3 with the sort of Dr. Mario pills versus viruses twist. If you're unfamiliar, it's not particularly complicated. All you really have to do is match pills with viruses, and from there it's kind of basically match 3 stuff. And that's good. It's a really good puzzle game. I love Dr. Mario. And this evolution of it works really well. I do have some complaints with the monetization. There's a lot of cooldown oriented stuff in a game that just doesn't seem to make sense to have it. But beyond that, it's really good. The progression of the puzzles is really fun. It's challenging in a way that doesn't feel unfair. I feel like I'll probably be able to get through the whole thing eventually. And that's good, because I want to. I enjoy it. It just, those cooldowns. Gotta love those energy systems, right? Yeah. Dr. Mario World is out on iOS and Android. It's great. Coming in at number 3, it's Dota Underlords, which bears a lot in common with Heroic Magic Duel, except for it of course handles everything on a much larger grid. Things are still handled in the sort of track way, and in a lot of ways it seems more specifically a Valve game, if that makes sense. Or rather a Valve live service. However, it's more expected on mobile. It's more maybe simplified than what you might expect from a Dota title, but in a lot of respects that's not necessarily bad. Although I'll say it possibly could have been simplified more. In a lot of ways, I feel like sometimes there's a little bit too much going on the screen at once. However, that being said, it is a lot of fun, and I particularly like the idea of actual sort of intended interactions between your various heroes you can drop on the board with the form of allied heroes. You can drop in a pair that has some sort of special interaction, and they do that. Not a totally new idea, but works really well here. Dota Underlords is out on iOS and Android now. It's quite good. Moving on to number 2, it's Sky Children of the Light, which is a game coming to us from the creators of Journey. It is as beautiful as Journey in every respect. In some cases, I think even prettier. What I like about this one is you have character customizations. That's something you didn't have in Journey, and you'll recognize a lot of the gameplay elements if you have played Journey. It is that kind of a game, and it really nails the idea of sort of building on that idea. Sky Children of the Light is out on iOS. It is in the pre-registration phase on Android. It's great. Give it a shot. And finally, coming in at number 1, it's Attack on Titan Assault, which is a turn-based RPG that is a big change of pace as far as Attack on Titan video games go. Most of the time we've been treated to games that attempt to capture the feel of battle. This one spends more time on strategy and actually quick time events. In a lot of ways, it's very typical of a mobile RPG, but it also brings us Attack on Titan as a skin and an aesthetic and a story, which works. It doesn't do a lot to play with the genre, so to speak, of the mobile turn-based RPG, but it's a slick and enjoyable presentation that I'm not really 100% sure needs to. It kind of just works, and it doesn't need to be a lot more or a lot less. I don't know it's going to have the kind of staying power that some of the games I've mentioned today have, but it's a very good use of a licensed property in a popular genre. Attack on Titan Assault is out on iOS and Android right now. And of course, we have a couple of bonus games for you. As you know, that is where we are putting the paid games that were great this month. There's not as many paid games anymore, but when they're good, we want to mention them. First off is Professor Layton Diabolical Box in HD. It's a digital remaster, and if you've ever played this game, you know exactly how good it is. If not, it's mystery solving. Highly recommend Layton Diabolical Box. It's a bit steep in price at $9.99, but I would say it's actually worth it. It's the full experience and it's really enjoyable. It's out on iOS and Android now. Next is Rooms, the Toy Maker's Mansion, a very unique looking puzzle platformer. It's actually quite creative and does its job very well. Rooms, the Toy Maker's Mansion is $4.99 and it's out on iOS and Android now. And our final game is actually two games. It's Doom and Doom 2, which were just released for Android and iOS. They're both $4.99. They're the first two Doom games. Doom 1 comes with the flesh consumed, in case you're wondering, and obviously these aren't particularly complex games. They should run good on your device, but they are really nice. It works very well. Doom and Doom 2 obviously just still hold up. They're fantastic games. Like I said, they're $4.99 a piece, and they're out on iOS and Android right now. What games did you play this month on your phone? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to click the like button. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.